Hi folks, I welcome you back to Global Education Zone. And in this episode on our course Data Processing for SS1 to 3, we are going to be dealing with networking. And we want to talk about networking. What is networking? So in this episode, we are going to be dealing with the meaning of networking, and also I'll also be giving you guys different types of networking and the difference between them. Now, basically, let's get into business. Networking can be seen as the practice of linking two or more computers to share resources or for them to share information. So nowadays, you have heard that this is the information age, right? So in this information age, we deal mostly with information, we deal mostly with data, we deal mostly with computers, we deal mostly with software and not hardware anymore. So and that is where the let's say the big bucks are coming in from, and that is where our world is kind of focused on right now. So basically, that's why we always talk about network. So how can we move these resources from where they are produced to where they are needed? So that is what networking is all about. And how can we communicate from one person to another? That's also another thing that networking is all about. So networking is consisting of two major parts, which are the sharing of information and the sharing of resources. And those resources could be software. When you download files from from your phone, when you also upload your results, when you upload let's say your CV, your resume on the on a job portal. So that is another way of sending resources and sending information. So basically, networks are built with a mix of computer hardware and computer software. So basically, that's basically what computer networks are consisting of. They consist of combination of computer hardware and computer software. And the computer network is often simply referred to as network. It's just a network, simply network, collection of computers and devices. So these interconnected computers that allow also us to communicate with one another. So that's why we have faster means of communication today. An example of this, you can see this diagram on the screen. So this on the screen here we have these are basically the kind of devices that will be characteristic of a network. So you can say we have a server at the top left. After that, to the right of the server, we have the receiver. Now this receiver, it takes it to the firewall, and this firewall then takes it to the internet. That is when you are trying to upload files to your internet. But when you are trying to download, it comes the other way around. That's from the internet to the firewall. So this firewall kind of it separates out the data from the ones that are not needed. So basically, it kind of protects data. It protects the network from breaches. It protects the network from hackers. The firewall, that's basically the use of the firewall to secure the network so that unauthorized persons will not have the access to it. And basically, these firewalls they are used by your internet service providers and also your the internet companies like kind of like your Airtel, your MTN, your and all those subscriber companies that basically they will firewall any person that has not paid for the access to the internet. So that's why you have to pay. That's why you have to buy data. That's why you have to pay to communicate with others. So due to this firewall, it's kind of a firewall that determines whether you are eligible to use the internet or not. So then that moves to the receiver, and then it moves to the router rather. That's the router, and then the router is basically used to kind of transfer the data from one port to another. So it decides which path the data will go through. So that's it's kind of like an intelligent data device. Then the server is kind of where the data is stored and where it is transferred to the hub. Then the hub distributes it intelligently to the clients. These clients are your computers. They are the computers that receive the information. They are the computers that send the information. They are the computers that receive resources and share resources. So most of the time, when you are trying to download from the internet, let's say it is always you are always downloading from the server, not the internet directly. So your internet is basically it's just ordinary space, but then that ordinary space, the files are downloaded to your server. So your server is kind of like the corporeal representation of the internet. It's kind of where your computer connects to. You can't connect directly to the internet, but you connect to the server. So from the server, you get the information. So this is kind of concepts that are involved in web development and back-end web development and let's say cloud computing. So these are concepts you need to understand if you want to go into further into computer and technology. So that aside, let's talk about the different types of networking. We have the local area network and we have the metropolitan area network, also known as MAN. So we have the wide area network, also known as WAN. Then we also have the we have the personal network. We have the wide area network. So this, but basically, let's talk about these major three types of network. So we have the LAN, MAN, and WAN. So the LAN, local area network, is used between in an organization and within a small range of environment. So the computers are close to each other, and there's no wide area between them. That's basically where you have a local area network. Then the metropolitan area network is used in basically like kind of like a city. So a network that connects the client's computers in a city. Then we also have the wide area network. The wide area network is basically very large. It's used in a whole country, connects countries together, and so on and so forth. So the internet is kind of like an example of a wide area network. So the internet is kind of like wide area network. Whereas your Wi-Fi is kind of an example of your local area network. So it's used between your computer and your modem. So that's kind of an example of Wi-Fi. Then or your Wi-Fi modem. Rather. So basically, a Wi-Fi is an example of a local area network. Then your metropolitan area network. Example of that is kind of like, let's say your now when I talk about computer network, I want you to you don't just need to think about it as involving just your phones and your computers and your laptops, because your television, the television you watch at home, it's also a network. It's a network. It's connected by network. So your it's also it's a network, and I'll call it a metropolitan area network because it can involve a whole city, a whole country. You get it? So that's kind of like a metropolitan area network. And even your radio. So your radio is not just your mobile, your smartphones that are able to connect to the network. Even your radio is also on the network, but it's on a restricted range of frequency. You get it? That is, those are the type of things that are received by your radio. So not as they are not as the frequency is not as much as those received by your television and smartphones. You get it? So just say that these devices are connected on different ranges of the electromagnetic spectrum. So those waves. So basically, that's basically what I want you to understand. I know this might be a little bit at the end of computer hardware and physics. So basically that, but that's the basic. That's where all these things are, are coming from. So you need to understand the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are your networks. They are gotten from the signals, and these signals, they are analog signals. They are waves that travel in the air. So they are waves. They are waves that modulate. So and then these modulations, they are produced by your devices, like your modem. Your modem is a modulator, demodulator. So it modulates and it demodulates signals. So when you talk about modulation, it's basically the conversion to analog, and then the demodulation is the conversion to digital. So these are the various concepts, the background concepts. So and then these modulations, they are transferred to the internet. So they travel through space as radio waves. They travel through space as radio waves, and these radio waves, they are different. They have different frequencies depending on um, the particular frequency on which the electromagnetic spectrum that it belongs. You get it? So now these radio waves, they are so, and when they are transmitted, they will be received by the device, which has been made for them. So for your smartphone, there's a specific a range of frequencies that your smartphone can receive. So that is when you make calls, you are receiving those frequencies. They are specifically targeted to your phone. They have been sent and they have been channeled. They have been directed at your phone. You get it? So that is how we communicate. So that is where networking comes in. So that is where all this comes in. So I hope you understand this concept. So there are different importance of networking. We have file sharing. It helps us to share files. It helps us to share printers. It helps us to share media. It helps us to be to organize a media center server. So basically that is basically the basics of network, and that is all for this video. I hope you understood this concept, and you can also attempt these questions. You can give your answer in the comment section of this video. I'll be hoping to reply, and I'm hoping to know your view on this topic. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next episode.